Chali, Namaskar everybody, good morning all. I welcome you all on the behalf of StudyIQ IS. My name is Pritesh Maturkar. I am the Senior Faculty of Geography, Environment and Ecology in StudyIQ IS. So ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all to a very special session. Mind you, this lecture is live right now. So those of you who will be watching me live right now, please feel free to comment. Please feel free to discuss anything if you want to discuss with me. So now this is a very, very important session because in this session, we are going to understand how to target geography if your attempt year is 2027. So when I'm talking about geography, now this is a very important discipline, rather it's a very technical discipline. And if you see the number of questions which are being asked in prelims and mains, so in prelims now roughly 15 to 20 questions are coming from this discipline, and in mains staggering this year in 2025 mains, you are having close to around 100 marks being asked. So geography is a very, very important discipline if you really want to score good marks in your prelims and your mains. So in today's video, we'll be understanding how to decode the syllabus of geography. Then what is basically the present day trend in civil services examination, because this is very important. And then we will try to understand like what can be the right sources, what can be the right approach to basically understanding geography, getting good marks and qualifying in prelims, writing good answers in mains and sitting for the personality test, sitting for the interview round out there. So those of you are watching me live right now, please feel free to comment, guys. Any difficulty you can ask, I will be able to share with you on the screen itself. Okay. So let us try to zone in as to why the targeting of geography is very special. See, when I'm talking about geography, so geography is a word which is coined by the merger of two distinct basically terminologies. Number one, this is referred to as geoid. Geoid meaning the bulged spherical shape of Earth, and graphene meaning describe. So description. So geography as a word was coined in 3rd century BCE by a Greek scholar called as Eratosthenes. So according to Eratosthenes, geography is basically nothing but the description, the orderly fashion of the bulged spherical shape of Earth. Now, when I'm talking about geography, so any discipline out there is going to have three very important things. Any discipline will have its content. Any discipline will have its basically scope, what entails this content, like till what boundaries, what barriers this content should be limited to. And lastly, it should have its approach. It should have certain tools. It should have certain methodologies to do it. So when I'm talking about geography, guys, the content of geography was given earliest by the Greeks and Romans. When Europe went into dark ages, Arabs basically took the helm of it. So Arabs were the first traders who started to document different phenomena on Earth. So there was an Arab trader called as Ibn Khaldun who advocated that geography has to be studied under two perspectives: physical geography and societal geography, meaning how the climate, how the land, how the water surface affects our life, affects our settlement. So once basically Arabs started to explore in this fashion, everything went haywire in geography. Why? Because Arabs started to improve the content, and once Europe came out of dark ages, the voyaging expeditions which took place, so people started to sit in their boats, they started to sail the different parts of the world. Australias were discovered, Oceania was discovered, you had a discovery of the Americas. So content started to basically have a flood in it, plus different people came with different interpretations of geography. So some people said that geography should be studied as spatial, SPATIL, or as special, SPECIL, versus general geography. Some advocated for determinism, possibilism, n number of steps, basically n number of studies out there, n number of hypotheses out there. See, it was only in the late 19th century, to be very precise, that geography got established as a discipline where the content and the scope was finally solidified. So the founding fathers of geography, guys, Alexander Humboldt and Carl Ritter, they advocated that geography has to have basically a universal coverage. Universal coverage in the sense of what? That geography has to have the amalgamation of both physical geography as well as human geography. It should be studied both in tandem, and geography was finally established as a modern scientific discipline. Scientific discipline in the sense it should have some positivism. It should be able to provide us some solutions out there. So, geography today serves as a universal discipline, and it is basically an objective scientific discipline. Scientific in the sense that it should have some definite answers. So what happened after this is, after the 19th century, you were having different approaches, different tools coming in. You had the discovery of mind maps. You had basically different formulas coming, different theories coming. Human behavior started to get quantified. You had different laws coming. So everything again started to go haywire. Why? Because the thing is that we as humans, how we can quantify our behavior? What you will buy, what you will not buy, that will all dependent on our interpretation of the reality. Our rationality is not basically infinite, it is bounded according to our circumstances. So geography eventually lost its track again. It was in 1970s and 80s when a backlash came, and then you had the social relevance phase in geography, wherein basically geography was again advocated as a solution provider. Geography should be able to answer as to why something is happening on the earth and how we can deal with it. So that is why when you talk about today's geography is based on the paradigm of what? It is based on the paradigm of sustainability. It is based on the paradigm of sustainable development, right? That everything has to be in tandem with the fulfilling of our needs, but not at the cost of future generation. Environment has again taken a front seat. You are now seeing COP30 being taking place in South America, right? So in South America, if you go right now, where everything began in the Rio Earth Summit 1992, it has come back again. So today, anthropogenic activities, rapid industrialization, urbanization, they are breaking havoc on the planet. The sea surface temperatures are rising. The climate is getting basically erratic patterns. Plus, we are now witnessing the visible manifestation of human activities on the nature in terms of mass extinction. Right now, we are living in human induced or anthropogenic activities induced mass extinction event. So, in a nutshell, if I'm talking about geography as a discipline today, so geography as a discipline today, if we really want to understand the syllabus, because syllabus is not well mentioned in the notification of civil services examination. If you go in the notification of civil services examination, let me just open up the syllabus slide over here. So the syllabus is mentioned on page number 29. So this is page number 29. If you go at the bottom of this page, you have this syllabus of geography mentioned for prelims. So here you have the Indian and the world geography, physical, social, economic geography of the India and the world. Are we able to understand anything? The answer is no. We are not able to understand anything. Good morning, Kanwar ma'am. Then, if I'm taking you to the mains part out there, so in the mains part, if you see over here, you are having just 3 bullets of geography. You are having silent features of world physical geography. Then we have distribution of key natural resources in the world, including India, factors responsible for location of secondary, tertiary, and primary sector industries, so agriculture, manufacturing, and the IT fields, various parts of the world, including India, and geophysical phenomenon, earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanic activities, cyclone, etc., flora and fauna, and their time location based changes in critical geographical features. So if you see the syllabus is pretty vague. Actually, we are not able to decode what to do and how to basically understand the syllabus. So In a nutshell, if I'm talking about the syllabus of geography, the syllabus of geography in particular, the physical part will include three spheres. What are these three spheres? So these three spheres will be the land surface, the lithosphere where you're all sitting right now. It will include the hydrosphere. 75% of the Earth's surface is covered by water. Below it, you do have the oceanic bed. And then we are having the atmosphere, the air in which you are all breathing. If you see the amalgamation of these three, this is where we are having the living sphere of Earth. This is where we have the biosphere. So, in a nutshell, the ultimate premise of geography is understanding what? Yes, good morning, everybody. The ultimate premise of geography is appreciating the man-environment relationship, right? So when I'm talking about understanding the man-environment relationship, this will depend on what? This will first dependent on understanding the environment out there. In order to understand the environment, you need to understand the three distinct spheres. In this sphere, you will be also having the cryosphere, the permanently frozen sphere of Earth. So, in a nutshell, the syllabus of physical geography will include what? Understanding the land. So we need to understand geomorphology. Geomorphology meaning understanding how did the universe and the earth originate, the interiors of the earth, understanding the evidences of the interiors, understanding the process of continental drift, understanding the most important part, understanding something referred to as plate tectonics, the most important part from where maximum questions are being framed. If I'm talking about water, if I'm talking about the hydrosphere, so this is where we need to understand oceanography. So oceanography meaning what? Understanding the ocean bottom floor. What features do we have on the ocean bottom? Understanding the temperature patterns, the salinity patterns of the ocean, understanding the phenomenon, something referred to as the ocean currents, and then interlinking it with climate, the phenomenon of El Nino and La Nina. When I'm talking about air, air will nothing be the understanding of climatology. So when I'm talking about climatology, the most favorite part of UPSC today, because this is where maximum research is happening, guys. So in climatology, understanding the structure composition of atmosphere, understanding the winds, understanding the pressure patterns, the temperature patterns, most importantly, understanding the aloft conditions like jet streams, Rossby waves, and now what you are seeing, cyclonic activity. So understanding tertiary level circulations like air masses, like cyclones, and then understanding something called as twisters. Very, very important. So if you see what UPSC wants to ask you, see, silent features of world physical geography. Features. So the topography, the climate, and the different distribution of oceanic resources, the different basically features of the oceanic waters out there. Then important geophysical phenomena such as earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanic activity, all related to plate tectonics, cyclonic activity, geographical features and their location changes in critical geographical features including water bodies, ice caps, the cryosphere, the permafrost, the frozen Arctic, the frozen Antarctic melting, flora and fauna, vegetation. So in a nutshell, once you understand these three spheres, then your biosphere knowledge is solidified. So the ultimate understanding is how land, how water and the ocean, they basically affect the animal life and the plant life on earth. And now to this, if we apply basically our understanding to this, if we try to decode that how all of this affects what, how all of this affects settlement, because those areas where the climate is good, the settlements will flourish. The best climate to live in the world, the northwest European type, the northwest British type of climate, the Mediterranean type of climates, there you will see maximum research happening, there you will see maximum bright minds coming from, right? So how does the climate affect our settlement? Why do we have majority of the world's biggest cities on the east coast and not on the west coast? Then understanding very important demographic attributes, understanding demography, because geography has a direct linkage to it. Resource starved countries will have demographic parameters which are fading. Resource abundant countries will have demographic parameters which are well sustained. But now, how basically climate change, now how global warming, now how rising sea level is threatening all of this, especially the island nations out there, the question which was asked in this year's mains. Then, number third, understanding how all of this affects what? Understanding how of this affects the economy. So, fisheries, agriculture, land resources, water resources, how all of this is getting impacted, how climate change is basically fueling adverse consequences for the working population, falling AQI. So air quality index is now going in the severe and very unhealthy category. What impact does it have on the working population? How it will eventually impact the economy of the nation? Human geography. Then understanding very important resource geography. So resource, metallic resources, non-metallic resources, resources in terms of land and water, how everything is being shaped by the global geopolitical underpinnings. So the last part will be also understanding little bit of geopolitics. How resources basically help in determining what will be the political clout of one particular nature, of one particular nation out there, not nature. So geopolitics is how geography, how the resources of one particular country help the country to dominate the world out there. So the most prime example of this is Russia. See how Russia is scattered like a Rumali roti on the world map out there, right? Why it is so much powerful? Again, resources, petroleum, natural gas, radioactive minerals, plus majority of the metallic minerals are found in Russia. So the syllabus of geography, only when you decode it, then it comes to fruition. Now, if I'm trying to paint you out like what can be the trends in geography, so for this let us try to understand some of the previous year's questions. So if I'm talking about 2024 questions, so see, what is sea surface temperature rise, how does it affect the formation of tropical cyclones, the phenomenon of cloudbursts, explain the concept of demographic winter, is the world moving towards such situation, what is the groundwater potential of Gangetic Valley, why it is on a serious decline, how may it affect the food security of India, aurora australis, aurora borealis, what is twister, explain their formation. So this is 2024 mains. Now, if I'm opening up this year's mains paper, so in this year's mains paper, you will also find the similar trend happening. So when I'm talking about the trends that we see after syllabus, if we try to decode it, so the trends can be quantified in three different spheres out there. Let me just open this year's paper too, so that all of you understand what I'm trying to say to you all. Yeah, so this is this year's GS paper 1. In this, if you try to interpolate what are the questions of geography which are asked, so see over here, discuss how climate change and sea level rise affects the very existence of many island nations. What are non-farm primary activities? How they are closely linked with the physiography of India. Then explain briefly the ecological and economic benefits of solar energy generation, the ecological and economic benefit. So how does it affect the environment and how does it affect the economy? Both. Then if you understand next question, what are tsunamis? How are they formed? What are their consequences? Explain with examples. So recently you had tsunami in the Kamchatka province of Russia. A direct question coming from geophysical activities out there. Then give a geographical explanation of distribution of offshore oil reserves of the world. Offshore in the sense which are in the open seas. How are they different from onshore occurrences of oil reserves? So those areas where you have wide continental shelf. How artificial intelligence and drones can be effectively used in GIS and remote sensing effectively. Discuss how the changes in shape and size of the continents and the oceans take place due to tectonic movements. And then last, the most favorite question of mine, achieving sustainable growth with emphasis on environmental protection could come into conflict with poor people needs in a country. So over reliance on environment protection, how can we shift the population from the rural areas to the urban areas if we are always thinking about the environment? What about the aspirations? What about the ambitions of the rural people out there? So guys, these are the questions in prelims. So these are the questions in mains. And now, if you talk about the questions which are being asked in basically the prelims out there. So let me just open up this year's prelims paper so that I can give you a good hindsight. So this is 2025 prelims geography paper. Scientific studies suggest that the earth shift is taking place due to rotation, solar flares associated. Then you have consider which of the countries through which the basically Andes pass. Then water bodies, how many of does the equator pass through? Then we have which of the following evidences of phenomenon of continental drift. Then one of the most favorite question of mine, let me just open it up. Without atmosphere, temperature will be below freezing point. In majority of the earth's surface, heat absorbed and trapped by the atmosphere maintains our planet average temperature. World Bank in India, warned that India would be one of the first places where bulb temperature routinely exceeds 35 degrees. What does it entail? So, in a nutshell, if you talk about the trends which you see in the question, so the first trend which you see is that majority of the questions are application based. Application based meaning you need to know the concept. When you are aware of the concept has to be applied citing suitable examples. So formation of cyclones, how is it linked to the increasing sea surface temperature? Then phenomenon of cloudburst, orographic upliftment, demographic winter, meaning falling children population. Then if I'm talking about basically the shaping of continents and the oceans, you need to know the plate tectonics. So the trend is very simple. Your concepts need to be astute. If your concepts are not astute, you won't be able to justify those with suitable examples. So the first trend out there, you need to be very cautious. Why? Because answering direct questions is the most difficult part. If your diagrammatic representation is not good, if your flow of basically content is not good, then you will not be able to do justice to such kind of questions where the concepts need to be applied to present a case scenario. So the first trend out there. Now, if I'm talking about trend number two, which you typically see is that the questions are also being asked with respect to current affairs. Current affairs in what sense? So current affairs again in three spheres: current affairs with respect to technology, current affairs with respect to resources, and most importantly, current affairs with respect to what? Current affairs with respect to basically climate change, current affairs with respect to basically the anthropogenic factors. How anthropogenic factors are intensifying everything. So when I'm talking about current affairs, technology in what way? So do we have the requisite resources for augmenting solar energy? Do we have the requisite resources for incorporation of green technologies in India? sustainability, sustainable development. When I'm talking about resources, resources not only the demography but also the resources related to land, resources related to water. Land, the groundwater potential of the Gangetic Plain is on a serious decline. How may it affect the food security? So why is it on a decline? Because of overutilization. So overutilization resulting into the soils turning alkaline because of capillary action, fertility decreasing, the net output decreasing, productivity falling. So in a nutshell, when I'm talking about current affairs, your current affairs need to be streamlined. Streamlined in the sense that whatever concepts you have learned, whatever application you have learned, you need to streamline it with whatever is happening right now. So a very common example I'm giving you. So just 2 days before, you have the groundwater table report being released. So in that groundwater table released, it is now said that Punjab and Haryana is having higher concentration of uranium. It is having higher concentration of fluorides. The nitrates, the phosphates are increased to the tune of more than 30%. If I'm talking about current affairs right now, so recently you are having a tropical cyclone forming very near to the equator between Malaysia and Indonesia in Strait of Malacca. So the desertification of Sahara, the eruption of Ethiopia's volcano right now. So the rifting process going on. When I'm talking about basically current affairs need to be in tandem to the sustainability part, because current affairs will help you in understanding how technology can be better leveraged to improve agriculture, to improve manufacturing, and to improve the work efficiency in the industrial revolution 4.0 paradigm, because today everything is governed by AI and robotics. So current affairs, when I'm talking about technology, the technology has to be streamlined with the primary sector, with the secondary sector, and lastly the tertiary sector out there. Very important. So I have given you a very good hack, guys. Those of you are watching me live right now, see, these are really golden words. If you're listening to me live right now, you are all very fortunate, because to understand this analysis, it requires 3 to 4 years of rigorous practice. So I'm giving you a good headway. I'm giving you a good, what I can say, boost in the very beginning, so that you all get streamlined. So technology, always understand how we can augment agriculture, how we can augment manufacturing, how we can augment the industrial revolution 4.0, so that the net outcomes improve. When I'm talking about resources, so resources meaning, do we have any research and development happening in modifying the resources, in utilization of resources? What is the optimization of resources? Optimize, are the resource being used optimally? Very important. So ecological and economic benefits of solar energy generation. Then what are non-farm activities? Poultry, fisheries. You can also go for farm forestry, agroforestry. And then lastly, when I'm talking about climate change or anthropogenic factors, this will be predominantly related to what? This will be predominantly related to rising sea surface temperatures, rising of cyclonic activity, then increasing what? Increasing urban heat islands, microclimates out there, plus most important part, desertification. So desertification plus a very advanced form of this, the biodiversity loss. So majorly everything will revolve around this only. Majorly everything will revolve around this. You have to be cautious. And lastly, when I'm talking about trends, the last trend which all of you should focus on is basically locational analysis. Because geography is nothing without analysis of any location. If you see the prelims paper this year, staggering, you are having close to 6 questions coming directly from this part. Mountain ranges through which it passes, equator passes through which lakes, then the countries in terms of the resources, the island, the ruling countries. So whenever you are seeing any location, whether it be mountains, plateaus, plains, grasslands, whether it be deserts, rivers, you need to understand what physical attribute it carries, what are the political attributes, what are the economic attributes, and what are the social attributes. Please remember PEP's approach: physical, political, economic, and social. If you do this surrounding any location, your no question of mapping will go in vain. So mapping will help you lot. And now the last part, how to approach, is basically sources, because sources are very important. So when I'm talking about sources, of course, the first source is going to be me or StudyIQ for all of you. Because whenever you will join coaching with us, everything will be based on what? Everything will be based on application. So a very good opportunity for all of you. Right now, if you go on the StudyIQ's website, and if you basically understand what is going on right now. So right now we are having one of the biggest sales of the year in terms of achievers. See guys, if you are preparing for 2027 and 2028, now is the golden time period for all of you to have a head start. Why? Because if you begin now, your course will be over. If you are targeting 2027, your course will be over definitely by January and February of 2027. You will be having 3 long months to revise everything, to do the MCQ practice. If you are appearing for 2028, the basics, the advanced will be covered very properly. You will be having a good headway over the others. So this is the right time if you are preparing for 2027 and also for 2028. So if you go into this, and if you basically just click on buy now, and if you use my code PM Life, the code is PM Life, and if you apply it, see, you will be getting very fantastic discounts right now. Please remember that the sale is live till 30th of November, tomorrow. So now is the right time you basically start zoning, because whatever we will be teaching you, and the biggest what I can say positive side of StudyIQ is that every faculty's lecture are there on YouTube. So you get to know us beforehand, you get to know our pedagogy, you get to know our methodology of teaching. So everything will be taught from application perspective itself. Here we will won't be teaching something which is there already existing in NCRT, something which is already there existing in the reference books out there, or that you are not going to pay the piece to us. You are going to feed the piece to us so that we can teach you the application. The sources are of course going to be lecture notes. The number 2 source, you need to have a basic reference. You need to have basic reference. So basic reference for geography is 11th standard, 11th NCRT. See, I don't advocate 6th to 10th NCRT because I know that all of you are capable enough and you have the right capacity to. If you follow 11th NCRT, 2's NCRT, you are having fundamentals of physical geography and you have India physical environment. These two NCRTs will go a long way for all of you to get good marks. Along with this, you should go for GC Leong book, Koncheng Leong Certificate Physical and Human Geography. You should go from chapter number 15 till chapter number 25, the different climates of the world. So you can keep this as basic reference. Then number third, you can keep the advanced reference as basically the books which are provided by StudyIQ to each and every one of you. Because these books will carry some extra leverage, these books will carry some current affairs for each and every one of you. Now, the most important source to master geography, 5-star source. So that is what? That is basically Atlas. And Atlas, I will recommend you only one, Orient Black Swan School Atlas, especially the 9th edition. This is the best Atlas you can have on the planet right now. And when I'm talking about this Atlas has the best coloring scheme out there. So surely you will all benefit from this. So right now I'm taking a series on this channel called as Geography Through Maps version 2.0. You are of course, free to join the series. Do follow it diligently, because without atlas, geography is nothing. So PEP's approach: physical, political, economic, and social. Very, very important. And last source to target geography is, of course, going to be newspaper. Without newspapers, we cannot score good marks. So newspapers, either the Hindu or the Indian Express, any paper you follow, no problem. Plus, you need to do economic survey too. So economic survey, 4 chapters: agriculture, climate change, then the social sector chapter, and last but not the least, you should include a chapter on industries. So this is a very important source, economic survey, and the last source is, of course, going to be budget. If you diligently follow this, your geography will become foolproof for at least 3 to 4 years. So these are the sources. Okay. So guys, in today's analysis, I wanted to discuss these 3 things for each and every one of you. I hope that this session was really fruitful to everybody. Please do follow me on Telegram. My official handle on Telegram is CSC with PM. And I don't share any random stuff over there. I'll be sharing only that stuff which is important. So please do follow me on Telegram, and I am awaiting all of you to join our platform so that we can start this beautiful journey together. Okay. So until next time, until the next great adventure, Tata, bye bye, adios amigos. Keep on smiling, keep on working hard, because that is the ultimate crux of life. Okay. Thank you, everybody. I will see you all today afternoon again, where I'll be discussing some of the analysis of the PYQ questions of prelims. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. And we will meet up again on Monday in geography through maps version 2.0. Okay. Thank you.